now I'm going to take you into a similar style of fly, but tying it in a slightly different way. This time we're still on the curved hook, the K4AY, and this fly is a little bit of a crossover. I've coined it the Dave's Grey. Essentially the pattern was shown to me by Dave Wiltshire, a fantastic local fly tyer, and he put me onto this fly for actually quite tricky midsummer conditions where the fish are being really fussy, and this fly just seems to tick all the right boxes. And like the shuttlecock, it's got the forward facing wing, but we actually only utilise a very small amount of the hook. So here we've got a size 18. I've changed threads now, still black, but I'm now on an 18.0 Nano silk by Semperfli. So it's it's like a Dyneema. It's very fine, very strong, and perfect for doing small fly work. As before, fold the thread round the hook, and always with this it takes a couple more turns than a standard wax thread just to hold shape. I don't want to take it much past the point of the hook, because as I say, I'm only going to use a very small amount of the hook. To the point, take it back towards the eye, and there we've laid our thread work. Now it's a very interesting way of tying with CDC. So when you compare a feather that size to a hook that size, if we were only to tie with a tip, that's quite a lot of wasted material from the fly. So for this, we actually take the scissors, very small V again, and we just cut down along the stem to create little V-shaped sections. I'll hold one up to the camera in a second. And the reason we do this is it allows us to tie firstly with the whole feather if we want to, and rather than using 3 feathers as before, we can actually tie one fly with 1 feather. So it gives us these little V-shaped wings, and much the same as before, we pair them up, but this time we pair stems together, and the bottom ones you'll see are even fluffier than the top section, so they're even more buoyant. So a nice combination of sort of top, middle and lower will give you a nice variety of fibres. Once there's only four segments together here, and I've got another 2 left from that 1 feather, and that will give me enough fibres, and it will give me a whole series of lengths which we can deal with in a second, but we'll pinch that all together and make sure that when you're tying this in that you're not trapping the stems in, but you're just trapping the fibres. And the reason we do that is it will keep the actual body build up to a minimum and make sure that we get maximum amount of these buoyant fibres facing forward. So pop that down as before, pinch that thread up through, trap it down once, twice, 3 times, 4. See, just put a bit too much pressure on that last one and they wrap round, and we can actually take those forward a little, strike those back, and just put those locking turns in front just so it's not going to go anywhere. Trap that back down, and we'll cut those fibres out at the back. You'll see I'm not cutting any stems now, so I don't have that thick non-buoyant part of the feather in my tying at all for this fly. And we can trap that down, and we've created a nice little hump part of the fly there, and keeping this fly as minimalistic as possible. I go back to the hare's ear of before, take a little bit of it, wrap it round. Again, the benefit of using hare's ear is you get those nice guard fibres as well as the sort of gripping underbody fur, so you get a nice combination of covering but also leggy areas. So I'll just do that final turn. So you'll see very small segment all in front of the point of the hook. Just opens out nicely. We've got to the wing. We can put the turns in front. This fly's not actually finished at this point, but we're done with the thread. So round, whip finish. Again, we're using that thread build up in front of the wing just to help ease it out. And then just knit the thread off there. Right, now at the moment that wind's quite messy. It's not how I quite want it. So we need to shorten it and tidy it up. What we don't want to do necessarily is go in with scissors and cut that off, because that will give us a very unnatural straight finish. So what I'll do is pinch it, keep it quite open, and go in with the fingernail from my right hand. Obviously if you tie other way around it will be left hand. And use your fingernail to pinch those out and tidy it up, and then you'll have a much neater finish as if you were pairing wings up normally. If your fingernail doesn't seem fit for the task, then what you can do, same again, grip it up and take the scissors in, and rather than cutting that way and giving yourself a straight edge, just face the tips in. Try not to cut yourself doing this, and just ease it up that way. Then you won't get a straight cut, but you'll still get that lovely tapered finish as if using the natural ones. This is the Dave's Grey, a great fly for smutting trout in the summer, and that's just when you see their nose pointing forward and just inching in, particularly under trees. It's worth having a few of these with black bodies as well. Perfect for any beetle feeders or small ant feeders, and it can get you out of a lot of difficult situations.